So today I want to talk about the potency of the energy of freedom and just how potent it is to exercise free will in your everyday life, and how simply exercising free will, making choices, being true to yourself, being authentic, can actually translate into very mystical experiences, activating your Merkaba, your soul vehicle, giving you access to be able to view and cognize other dimensions, which are all here and now. So basically, being free in your everyday life will automatically sync you to your purpose, to why you are here, all the things that people are trying to figure out. That saying, everything is within you. Well, that's very true, and everything that you truly want comes from being free as yourself, being free to shine yourself into this world. And so I'm going to talk about what that actually looks like. So to demystify some of these platitudes, like everything is within you. I've talked a lot about how creating frequencies, how easy it is, how creating the frequency of freedom, tuning into frequencies is so easy and available right here and now. And you don't need to go anywhere or get anything in order to feel those frequencies, because you're a creator in the same way you are a miniature version of the mind of God, right? And you have every faculty that mind has to create. So, but I think it's so important to realize how potent it is to be yourself, how potent it is, and what the implications are. So let's just follow this logic for a second. So in life, right, what creates suffering is identification. We are both the unmanifest, the womb of creation, and the expressor. We are the unmanifest and the manifest. We are the unborn and the form. We are the observer, the observing, and the observed. We are all of the vibrations in the universe is fundamentally what we are. When we identify with one of those things, whether it's the separate actor, the body, the psychological mind, whether it's the witness, whether it's just the unborn, sticking to one of those things causes suffering, right? So if we start at the foundation of what we are, so we are literally the unborn being born, right? We are the unmanifest manifesting. We are the whole process of life. Think about how nuclear and powerful that is. You are the process of life. You are demanifesting and remanifesting millions of times per second. That is the androgynous female male dying and reborn nature of reality, right? That's what you are. That's pretty big, right? So when you express as an individual, right, in the same way that a river expresses, or a bird, a whole species, a planet, a star, right, that expression is very powerful. That's the Godhead expressing as that form. And so what I'm saying is, when you just completely allow yourself to express as the form that the Godhead created you as, right, you are the Godhead expressing as you. When you allow yourself to express, you activate that nuclear energy. You activate because you are no longer in a trance believing you are obligated to be something else, that you are obligated to do something else. You are no longer believing that you are not free. You are no longer believing that something outside of you has power over you, or that you must live up to a certain expectation. All of those fictions fall away, because when you realize what you really are as the whole process of life, that's a big realization, right? So what does that look like in the everyday life, right? To exercise freedom. And this might sound kind of trivial and mundane, but it's literally everything, right? Again, people ask me, how do I become more intuitive? How do I find my purpose? And the answer is that it's within you as what I want to do right now, what interests me, what doesn't interest me, right? It's like there's this path that's actually a very narrow path that is being revealed to you by where you want to be, what you really want to experience. what you want to say no to, what you are drawn to consume, right? What you are drawn to express. And really, I've talked a lot about the difference between heart's desires and astral desires, right? Because people get confused. Well, I've been doing what I want to do, but it's just landing me in the same cycles. And the difference is, right, when you're in an ego desire, right, or an astral body desire, you are seeking something, often in a stressful way. You are seeking the essence of what you want outside of yourself. Oh, I really want to go, be with that person. But really the driver of that behavior is feeling desperate, feeling lonely, right? It's the driver of the behavior. What's actually moving you is not a feeling of wholeness. It's not a feeling of equanimity. It's not stillness. It's not silence, right? Because a heart's desire comes out of wholeness, right? And I did a whole video on how to tell the difference between a heart's desire or a pure desire, right? What I would like to experience if the whole world disappeared. The whole world disappeared and nobody expected anything from me. And I didn't have to prove anything and I didn't have to be anywhere, right? Which you actually don't have to do any of those things, but just get rid of the whole world and ask yourself, would I love to experience this? That's a pure desire. It's a very easy way to kind of tune into pure desire. So, but the implications of, because you are the universe, this nuclear energy expressing, when you are in alignment with the energy of freedom. So I want to pause and also discuss a little bit about free will. In my opinion, and you can take this or leave this, in my opinion, the idea that we have no free will is a trickster thought. It's not true. It's something that religions and, spiritual leaders would love you to believe, right? Everything is predestined. We have no free will. So here's my feeling about that. We are the universe, right? We are the whole process of life. And so therefore we are free will itself, right? We are free will. A great guy, I don't remember his name. He's a scientist and a brilliant mystic. And he said, what feels like destiny to the small self is actually the intention of the higher self, which is my experience, right? I literally feel and know that I create my reality. It's like a somatic, very real knowledge, right? And so practicing freedom and unconditional love, practicing the vibrations of your true nature brings you more into this cognition or realization of, oh my God, I am creating my life. I am expecting things into being. So the idea that we're not free can be a very tricky thought, because if you believe it, well, you might just sit in your life and wait for things to play out, be the observer, right? Sit back and observe, which is the freedom aspect of enlightenment, right? The observer, the witness, right? I can just disidentify from my mind and from form and sit back and watch everything play out, and that's fine. That is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's one of the dimensions of reality, is the observer. But another one of the dimensions of reality is the creator, right? It's the creator, it's the intention, it's the male quality, like the expressive quality of reality, right? Reality is androgynous. One of the male aspects of reality is the witness. Another one of the male aspects is wisdom. Another one of the male aspects is the ability to intend and carry out plans, right? How could that not be true if the universe is expressing all these forms? Of course, you as the universe is doing a whole lot, right? So if you believe the thought that we have no free will and that gives you relief, that's okay, right? It can be valuable. That belief can be valuable. But my experience, for whatever it's worth, take it or leave it. I'm not claiming to have the answers to everything or be the truth, but this is my truth. that I do have free will, and I live with that, and I make decisions, and I feel free, and I don't externalize my higher self or what the universe has in store for me. It doesn't feel external to me. It feels like my intention. So, because we are freedom itself and love, we are both freedom and love, right? We are both a mind. We are the mind of God made of love. We are a mind made of love. We are male and female. We are the unmanifest and we are the manifest. Because we are all of these things, right? When we resonate with the purest versions of those qualities, which is freedom and love, we activate cognitions, we activate the ability to perceive bliss. If our journey of evolution is about our ability to continuously expand our ability to perceive ourselves as the universe, that means our ability to cognize reality and to feel bliss, right? To feel the bliss and the love of reality is always expanding. So if we isolate those feelings of love and freedom and anchor them into the actions of our everyday life, that is all you have to do to reveal your purpose to you. And here's why. You are the universe manifesting. So once you kind of have a clear idea of what it means, right, what a pure desire versus an astral desire means, and by the way, you can even follow an astral desire or an ego desire, and as long as you follow it without resistance, right, you are at one with it, it will lead you more and more to be able to focus and isolate what a pure desire means, right? Because anything that you do that you're completely okay with or at one with, in other words, in every moment in life when you are at peace with yourself, when you're not shaming, guilting, resisting at all, when you're just at one with self, because life is this nuclear current that moves you forward, it will move you forward in your understanding, in your inner discernment, in your ability to understand what's going on within you. But because we are the universe expressing, right, in every way that we honor ourselves, we start to activate that nuclear energy. We start to release all of the debris of the trance that we've been in, right? In this altered state of consciousness where we have to live for other people. We have to be something that we're not, right? So being free in an everyday way, right, from a place of wholeness is what gets you everything you want, because what you're already in the end, what you truly want is to be yourself and to know yourself as the universe. So what does that look like? Well, let's say you're in business. Let's say you're in business and you are born into this really maybe powerful family and you manage hundreds of millions of dollars maybe in funds, and you get an amazing deal and it would be so amazing for your company, but the ethics and the morals and the energy of it doesn't feel right to you. Well, what would happen if I honored my knowing? Maybe I would have to let down my partners, right? I would have to honor my knowing. Maybe that would mean that other people wouldn't like my actions. But here's what I want to tell you. If you pass on the thing that feels bad to you, a thing that will feel good to you will take its place, because nature abhors a vacuum and we attract what we are. So have the courage to say no to things that don't feel right to you. This is like the most important thing in the world, to have the courage not to acquiesce or be tempted, right? This whole idea in the Bible about temptation, there's something to it, right? And we're trying to let temptations teach us to come back into our heart, into our authenticity, right? So in that situation, right, if I'm true to myself and I say, you know what, I'll pass on this $500 million deal, I'll let another deal come in, because I know that since I am the universe, since I am the creative energy and intelligence of the universe, and I am electromagnetic, right? The male aspect is the electric aspect, the thought, and the magnetic aspect is the heart that draws it back to you. Because that's me, right? I know that if I'm me, I will attract something that resonates with me. That's just physics, right? So let's say apply this to any context. I'm in a relationship, I'm in a friendship, I'm doing a career that it just doesn't feel right. And maybe you've tried to adjust your attitude about it. Maybe you've tried all of those things. You've tried to appreciate it and feel the value of it, but there's still just this incoherence, this lack of resonance. And so you decide, you know what? I'm going to let this go. I'm going to, let's say, not one cell of your body enjoys alcohol. And you have been rationally convincing yourself to join your friends in a drinking game because, well, if I don't do that, I'll lose everything. I'll lose my tribe, I'll lose my friends, which is a very real thing, right? We have this human need to feel connected to others, right? We have pro-social networks in our brain. There's all this holographic proof that being connected is actually a desire of the universe. And so it's real, right? To feel like, well, if I honor myself, I'm gonna lose everything. But I'm here to tell you, right, if you walk through that kind of portal, if you die to that idea that I need to do something I don't want to do to have what I need, right? I'll do whatever it takes to feel safe. If you let go of that idea and even go through that gate of loneliness, the universe will replace it with something resonant with you. It's the law. It is the law. So what I find so amazing, right? I talk a lot about, I've had a very psychedelic life and I have mystical experiences every day of my life. And what I have noticed is so interesting about when a new cognitive ability comes online, or when I started perceiving archangelic energy in my life. I started perceiving archangelic energy in my life when I practiced being so free that I left a marriage even though there was no safety net for me. Oh, right, there was no safety net, none. And I said, you know what? My desire to be free and to be in a life that feels good to me is stronger than any need I have to feel comfortable in this situation. And guess what? Archangel Michael flooded the space as soon as I realized that, as soon as I became clear about that I deserve the life that I want, that I deserve to be free, that I deserve to live free, that I deserve to be myself, and that the universe will provide for me. That's when I started perceiving archangelic energies. When I started speaking up for myself in real mundane situations, in relationships, when I let people know that they had crossed lines with me, I have such good guard dogs. When I exercise this very normal human mundane thing of speaking up for myself, I started feeling my foot chakras, the chakras under the soles of my feet, open and turn on. So I keep getting this feedback, right? Being free in my everyday life, expressing, feeling like knowing I am the universe and that I am the electromagnetic energy of the universe, and that me as a unique expression is inherently valuable and will attract onto itself things that resonate with it, and I don't need to sell myself out. I don't need to sell my soul in any way, shape, or form to have what I want. That's when, just one thing after the other, mystical experiences keep opening up even more. And so what I want to tell you is, all you have to do in life is be yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to your heart. Be true to your heart's desires, right? I keep getting this incredible, energetic, mystical feedback that simply being myself is all that needs to take place for me to feel fulfilled, for me to fulfill the maximal service I can fulfill as a member of this world. Because by being free, I demonstrate and give permission to others to be free. So yeah, exercising freedom, being true to your heart, right? If you think of that all those biblical stories of like selling my soul to the devil, like think of them as like a metaphor. Like Carolyn Mace talks about, we have an inner prostitute. We do. That's part of the human minefield. What if you stopped selling yourself out? What if no longer selling yourself out would heal your body? What if no longer needing to explain your existence to your parents or your friends, or even in your own mind, validating your existence, what if that could heal your body and attract to yourself a soul family? Why? Because when you're no longer justifying and explaining yourself and just being that radiant expression of the universe that you are, it will reflect in your life. It will just reflect, because the universe is electromagnetic. You are electromagnetic. Oftentimes, the reason that we attract things that are unpleasant to us, it's for many reasons. It's because we're not being ourselves, right? Self-deception. Oh, well, I married this person, or I joined this group of friends, or I joined this law firm or this business because it would give me status and whatever, even though it felt awful the whole time, right? Even though it felt awful and not me the whole time. And I wonder, like, why is everything going wrong? Nothing's going wrong. You're just getting feedback. The universe loves you so much, right? You are so loved and cared for that the universe is simply showing you via reflection, or you are showing yourself, being the universe as a hologram, that I'm simply not being myself. That's it. And so there's no shame involved. There's no guilt involved. It's just like, well, if you think about like a friendship that you entered or a relationship that you entered that really felt off from the very beginning, but you convinced yourself, the mind convinced you to enter into it anyway. And then you just keep getting like experience after experience of like people that abuse you, right? You have to learn through a victim bully mentality, not because you deserve a punishment, but because you embodied the victim by not listening to yourself, right? Because if I would have listened to that voice at the beginning, and granted, like we're not used to doing that. It takes courage, right? So I'm energizing courage. I'm energizing like, you are the freaking universe, and those little knowings, right? Even if you have it makes sense that you have no validation about the things that you know, right? If you have been creating out of being inauthentic to yourself, and your intuition feels like a whisper, it's simply because you've been believing external thoughts, right? Instead of the impulse of life, you have been creating based on other people's desires, so you've buried it, right? And so of course you're not going to find many people that believe you or resonate with you or validate your experience, because you kind of got yourself into a life where their opinions and expectations were more important than yours. But guess what? Even if you're balls deep, excuse my language, even if you're just completely in that experience of being buried in your own, right, inauthenticity, as long as you can just begin where you are and listen to it now and now and now. And when somebody invites you somewhere and you don't want to go, say no. And when somebody offers you something that doesn't feel right and you say no, ooh, it gets a little louder and a little louder and a little louder and a little louder. And before you know it, it's you. Your intuition has become you now. And now you're in a world where everybody is very similar to you. And that can be something for your ego to process, because actually part of your ego liked being the outlier in your inauthentic world, right? That's the best that you could do. That was the payoff. I'm the special one, the sensitive one, the psychic one, the spiritual one in my inauthentic world. And then you're free, and you're all of a sudden surrounded by people with superpowers just like you. And the ego will be like, oh man, I'm not special anymore. I'm unique. I'm unique. And then you'll quickly realize, like, wow, living in a community where we can all have superpowers and we can all be free and we can all love each other and express with each other and create with each other, it is so much more fulfilling than staying alone in your inauthentic life, feeling like an outsider, right? And that feeling of being an outsider is often what drives us to check out, disassociate, even into spiritual practices. Like, what we really want is to live from our heart and to be connected to others. And I'm telling you that all you have to do in order to do that is be yourself moment to moment. Who am I? What do I want? What do I love? What do I want to say no to? You don't have to answer that question in a very big way. You just have to be aware moment to moment. Wait, I am not obligated to do anything. I am free. I'm free. I don't have to accept this deal that feels shady to me. I don't have to go drinking because I don't like alcohol. I don't have to eat, right, the food at this place because it doesn't feel good to me, right? Just start making decisions, because you are literally the free will of the universe. So when you resonate with free will by making decisions and honoring yourself, you activate the Merkaba. You become intuition. You become everything that you've always wanted, which is just yourself, your multidimensional self, and your ability to perceive yourself. And the universe, which is the same thing, will just continue to expand and increase. And so that's my message for today. Have a beautiful day.